follow such great speakers at times is not a great idea, but I think I would try my best because the learnings that I get from the people who've spoken before me is always reflected in what I'm about to say. Something that we left out in the introduction is something that I will come to in a short while. A logo that you might be able to see on my chest, which I bear very proudly and then projected on the screen. 20 years ago, in 1996, I was not a very old man, yet I was young enough to receive an ED from various uncles and aunties and ammis and amus. I used to live in Cantonment and I got my ED, for one particular Eid that it was, and I was driving my then 1991 model Suzuki Alto, which now you guys call Omair Rana, which is now going to be obsolete. And on the way I saw someone. I saw this middle-aged man. His face was extremely wrinkled. He was tan-skinned. He was definitely a local. He was standing next to his horse cart. The horse cart's wheel was out, the bearings were everywhere, and there were some twigs and dried sticks on top of that horse cart, and he was standing there by the roadside with his typical gesture of begging and that expression on his face that was heart-wrenching, asking any car that was whizzing by, which is worth what, 600,000 rupee cars, 400,000 rupee cars, to stop for a second and help this man who's helpless on Eid. Well, something that you might feel I felt. I stopped, I turned around, and I got out and I gave him all the ED that I had. And I felt that sense of joy that we all feel when we do that, especially when we don't tell others that we didn't. But there's a reason why I'm telling you that today. Because a few weeks later, in a different road, coincidentally the road where I live on now in Cantonment, I was driving by and I saw the same man do the same thing again. And I realized he's a con artist. And coincidentally at that particular moment, there was a gentleman I know, a retired colonel, who was about to give him some money out of his sheer generosity. And I felt duty-bound to tell Colonel Saab that this is not going to be the right thing to do. And I told him, he's a con artist, I did this a week ago, and I'm warning you. Well, he gave him the money and said, bugger off. And I scolded him as well. Lo and behold, poor man, poor fate, barely a few weeks, maybe a month later, I saw him again. And this time onwards, it was always, remember me? Now run off before I call the police or the army. And he would run off. Every so now and then, I would bump into this man, and I felt everywhere in Lahore, by the way, Gulbarga, Cantonment, anywhere. You'd see him now, and you'd know who I'm talking about. And now he's an old man, as I am. He had a young baby girl and a baby boy who used to sit in that car, who are now young men and women who have their own children. And now when he sees me, he just runs off and I say hello to the daughters. Ki haal hai, they're theek-thaak. And this had happened for a long time. But one thing that he did for me was, he made me very uncomfortable. He made me extremely uncomfortable within my own skin. For 10 to 12 years, I struggled on with a question because of this man. I felt, what's the difference between him and me? To be honest, I felt worse than him. When you call him a con artist, like I'm calling him one, we look down upon him. Hell, we should look down upon me. Because I'm an actor. I pretend, which is really what? A facade, a lie. And in fact, he's better. He's doing such a good job that I, a seasoned actor, director, can still get conned by him. He's so good. He's so good that he'll show his act first and say, you want to stop and pay me, and whatever you want to pay me, pay me. Whereas I say the opposite. Buy my ticket, come into the theatre hall and watch me whether you like it or not. He's better than me. So what's the difference between him and me? I want to park that question and I want you to fester in your mind. I'll come back to it a little later. But what I do want you to understand is something that I have discovered on the journey as well. And today's talk, I want to guarantee two things to you people. I will make you successful. by the time you leave this auditorium, should you choose to be successful. And I will make you be excellent human beings, should you choose to be excellent human beings. You will walk out with those two things in your bag. Now, why do I say that? How many in this house would actually deliberately want to fail in life? Deliberately. Now, failures will be coming. Trust me, you're looking at someone who failed at his A-levels. Right? So you will be failing various times in life. But why don't look for it deliberately? It means that all of us are actually deliberately trying to succeed. So I want you to close your eyes, and I promise not to nick your wallets, all those trinkets and jewelries or your mobile phones. Close your eyes, and I want you to visualize you as a successful human being. Visualize. Transport yourself to this place where you are, with whom you are, what you're doing, and you are truly successful. That's what you are trying to achieve. Now, back to reality, and you're not a success yet. The question is, what is success? And I can tell you without any black magic, because the company Skate Mother I'm working with is research based, and for 30 years over 6 continents, well, the penguins always elude us in Antarctica, but in 6 continents, over 25 countries, and an industry or individuals that we have made from ranges of the army to married couples, from teenagers to FESCO, PESCO, LESCO, banks, telcos, anywhere in the world. We've asked this question, what is success for you? And we've come down to 4 things. And I want you to reflect on your definition of success. And I can guarantee you they fall in these 4 categories. We say success falls into 4 categories. 1, security. You will seek security, whether it be in forms of physical security or financial security or good job. You want that so that you will be successful. But you want more than security. You want fulfillment. Whatever you do must give you that kick every day. You like it, you enjoy it. Playing that music, going to that bank, making that investment, whatever that case may be. You want that fulfillment, but you need more. You need to have a sense of power. You want to grow. You don't want to be static. You want to feel every morning that I am worth something. And that's the sense of power you want. And that gives you an element of success. But you still want one more thing. Because we are, at the end of the day, social animals. We want harmony. We seek harmony. We want to get along with people. We would like to go somewhere every day, be it school, college, university, work, where we like the people we work with. Without any one of these 4 factors, you will not consider yourself successful. Now, what is the message that the world and the universe is giving to you and me? There's an old saying in Urdu, padhoge likhoge, banoge nawab, kheloge kudoge hoge kharab. Now that nawab element that you want to be, which is your element of eluded success, they say go and study and you will be successful. But here's the fact. We have found, and you will agree, there's a great chance that a highly skillful doctor might feel insecure. Yeah? There's no guarantee a highly skillful doctor will feel secure. A highly skillful engineer might not feel fulfilled. A highly skillful artist might not feel a sense of power. And I can assure you from the acting world, highly skillful actors don't necessarily get along with everyone. Right? We said Fawad, well, I will not spill more names. So we realize that this is not guaranteed by skill. And definitely not the hard skills that education is giving you. Because Carnegie Mellon, Harvard University, and Stanford got together to make a research and show that hard skills are not the guarantee of success. They said, according to their research, that success is guaranteed 85%, 15% ratio. So 85-15 ratio. 85% dependent not on hard skills, soft skills. People skills, decision making, communication, problem solving, creative thinking. These are the things which guarantee your success. 15% is hard skills. So how do you program this Java thingy? How do you balance that equation? So it's not necessarily skills. In fact, there'll be so many mentors will tell you that behavior will guarantee success. I as a director can tell you it doesn't guarantee success. Because it's something behind this. And this is what I want you to reach out to. It's your intent that guarantees success. Now, bear with me. The formula has begun. So focus, right? Bow focus right now. Right? First of all, intent. We all might think that we cannot see intent. Rubbish. We all see intent. Do you know where we see intent? We see intent manifest itself in a form of action. Because that's what's judged by intention, right? So your intent is visible. That's why there's a difference when you see your horrible teacher scold you. You don't like it, but when your mother scolds you, it's like, hey, it's alright, she loves me. So there's the intent which is visible. That's the first thing. And I want you to remind you, it's the action, and not just action, we call it transaction. Hey, I'm an economics grad, so I'll talk about transactions. When two parties meet, there's the intent manifests itself. And the party in the center of the story will be you. So put yourself in the story. I didn't have your picture, so I put this one on. I hope you enjoy the weight loss. Now, when you interact with the other, first of all, realize you're one. You are surrounded by others. And it's not just people, it's opportunities, it's objects, it's circumstances, it's time and space. I'm talking to a group of science students, perhaps they'll understand me better in that way. So you're one. How many are others? They're infinite. Whenever you interact with the other, your transaction will begin. And you'll have two possible transactions here. You may interact with the other with the intent to take from the other. Then what can I get out of this situation? What can I get out of this person? What can I get from this object? Or your objective will be your intent to give to this situation. What am I supposed to do here? What am I supposed to give in this situation? There are two possible intents. Intent to take or intent to give. Now we have four categories. Success key. We have four categories. Security, fulfillment, power, and harmony. Now let's say if I wanted to seek security from the intent of taking. In our society, in many parts of the world, it is said, to secure yourself, make your own home. You must have heard of this, yes? Yes? Make your own home. You'll feel secure. So the home is the other, and I'm seeking security from it. Now guess what happens? I get mugged. I reach home. The home will not say, hey, what happened to you? Are you alright? It's not going to reach out for me. Not at all. In fact, in horrible situations like 2013 election in Karachi, the PTI lady, Zara Bibi, she was shot in the head. Guess where she was standing? At the gate of her house. Did not give her security. When we peg our security on the others, it's like leaning on a wall, not knowing whether it might fall or not. So you don't feel secure, you feel insecure. This is why our women, that's why in our dramas we've always used women as victims. Why? Because our women, I'm sorry to say, but generally speaking, this is how they're raised. They're raised to seek their security from the man in their house. Be it their father, be it their brother, even at times younger brothers, which pisses me off personally. Be it anyone else. Even a mother is told to seek security from her son. And guess what? That poor son gets married. And that poor son gets married to a woman from the same society who's been told to seek security from her man who's going to be that woman's son, but her husband. This is why when one day he comes home, he's like, well, usually he comes at 6 in the evening and sits downstairs with Ammi for an hour. It's been 9 o'clock, God help me. I'll just switch on the TV and watch more dramas based on my story. Because you're feeling insecure, you're pegging your security on the other. Let's talk about security. It's gone out of the window. Let's talk about fulfillment. I always, and here's something very interesting, many of us in this room, including me, have had suicidal thoughts. Yeah? And at that particular moment, you'd say, why me, God? Why me? I'm not a horrible person. What about that nincompoop? What about this nincompoop? Or the one who calls from London all that time? Why not him? Or the one with the papers, who will not spill it out? Why not them? Why me? Why the horrible things to me? And then when you recover, and if you think about it, you'll go through exactly what I go through. None of us, and I've conducted a research, none of us have got everything we want, every time we wanted it, when we wanted it. None of us have gotten it. That's why you realize there'll be Alcohol Anonymous, there'll be Other Victim Anonymous, there'll be Drug Anonymous, there'll be even TV Addict Anonymous, but there'll never be Loser Anonymous because we're all losers. None of us have gotten it. And when we don't get what we wanted, we don't feel fulfilled, we feel discontent. Because what we wanted was not in our control, it was in others' control, and they're infinite, and we want to take it. We can't get it every time. Let's take the third situation. When I get into a transaction where I want someone's mobile phone, hey, I like you, I want your mobile phone. Who's in the position of power, me or the other? It's the other. Immediately in that moment, I've put myself in the position of weakness. That's why the wisdom of this land says, never put your hand like this. Always put your hand like that. Because this is a position of weakness. This is why we can't turn around and tell who used to be Secretary, Madam Clinton, and we said, Madam, you've been bombing our country, what's wrong with you? She said, hey, you don't like it? Don't ask us for money. She shut us up. This is why we can't turn around to Saudi Arabia and UAE and say, listen, what the hell are you guys doing in Gwadar, sending your spies and killing our Chinese? Say, hey, you want our oil or you don't want our oil? We are in a position of weakness whenever we're in the position of taking. And guess what? Here's a very interesting part. The more I want it, the weaker I get. And guess what? It's not just tangible things we want. I don't want your mobile phone all the time. I want your good opinion. I want you to like me. I want you to love me. I want you to give me that promotion, that pat on the back, that approval. And you can give it now and take it away in a breath, and then give it again and take it away in a breath, and give it again and take it away in a breath, and I'll be dancing like crazy. And I'll turn around to and say, you know what, Nabil, this person has got me dancing like crazy. And Nabil will turn around, you're dancing on your own too, because you want it. Break that want and you'll be fine. So when I want something from the other, do you think I'm going to get along with the other person? Lots of women over here, the brothers and sons over here have gone for shopping at Orega with Pathan bargain, would understand. Bargain is not going to make friends. It always leads to conflict. So your 4 categories have gone with the intent of taking. And that moment you realize, you know what? The world is not in my control. At best, between the 2 parties, other and self, who is in your control? Yourself, at best. I say, alright, so what I do, don't do, give, don't give, say, don't say, is in my control, so let me see what I can do. Say, alright, I feel good when I go to sleep at night, although I don't live behind a Bilal house. Then why do I feel secure? I feel secure because at that moment I realize I've locked the door, the guard's outside, that's the max I can do, now snore. That's why even in protest I've witnessed that someone would be sleeping behind a bomb-proof container and one leader would be sleeping on top of a container. The security doesn't come from the other. It comes from self. That is why in the Islamic history I've seen where the Khulafai Rashidin, the second one passed away by murder in prayer. The other 2 who also were murdered in prayer did not have security guards protecting them all the time. They said security doesn't come from the others. Sense of security comes from yourself. So there you are. Your intent to give has made you secure. Then you say, alright, fulfillment. All over here will not remember accurately what was the score in the one-day international quarterfinal Pakistan versus Australia. But most of us over here will remember what Wahab Riaz did. And I had the fortune to ask Wahab about this question. How did you feel? He said, I couldn't sleep the night before, I couldn't sleep the night later, but I felt good. Why? Because he focused on his contribution and gave him a sense of fulfillment. Because all of us over here have at least one experience where we did our best, didn't get what we wanted, but still felt fulfilled. Because our focus was not on taking, our intent was to give into that moment. Likewise, if I don't want anything from you, you can't manipulate me, I'm in a position of power. And you're in a position of power because you don't want anything from me. In fact, when that happens, we're no longer a threat to each other, we now can get along and have a sense of harmony. Now folks, we clearly understand that, alright, this sounds a little rosy, I'm kind of selling this to you, but you should have certain questions in mind. And if you don't, it means you weren't listening. The first question in mind, hold on, you can't give all the time? That's not possible. I can't be nice all the time. Well, I didn't ask you to do that, did I? The first thing I'm asking you to do is don't give to take. Don't give conditionally. If you want to give unconditionally. I did not want to give the money to that beggar so that he gives me praise so I get to corner plot in heaven. I thought it's the right thing to do. It was unconditional. I don't want anything in return. And also, I'm not saying being nice. Giving is not about being nice. Giving is about being appropriate. And there are 2 possible things. And this is the last bit that you need to learn to do. There are 2 possible situations what is appropriate. Now, let's say we're in this hall. We're all having a nice feast. And all of a sudden this 10-year-old boy walks in. And beyond reasonable doubt, we can see this boy has not eaten for long. He's about to die. And he says to us, I haven't eaten for 4 days. Help me. Now what's the appropriate thing to do? The appropriate thing to do is give him our food. The appropriate action over here is that nice action, generous action. Be generous. That is the appropriate thing here. The alternative would be something else. You see beyond reasonable doubt someone pickpocketing. And when you see someone pickpocketing, you're not going to be generous here. It's not the appropriate thing to do. What's the appropriate thing to do? Raise an alarm, hold the person, catch the bugger. That doesn't require generosity. What requires inside me to get me up and go to that person and apprehend him? Courage. So either the moment would require you to be appropriate is generosity, or appropriate is courage. Now courage is the higher order because it's rising above the loss of self. And again, it's not tangible things that I will die or maim myself. Those are great elements of courage. But the fact I have to tell the truth even if it may cause me harm. To be honest in a moment where I should be honest. Where my value says so. This is what a giver does. This is what a giver does. Now think about your mentors, your great people who have been lovely and amazing. Were they always nice to you? Hell no. If I could get a penny for every time my mother hit me, I'd be a millionaire just by that. But I appreciated it. My mentors, my scholars have told me off when I was lazy. It requires courage, trust me. As a parent I can tell you, it's tough, but you gotta do it. What does the taker do? The taker does the same actions. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. The action may be the same, it's generous or courage, but it's the opposite thing. At the moment where they're supposed to show generosity, they will show courage. They'll say, bugger off, run off you young poor boy, I don't need you to take my food. I'm selfish. It's my precious. At the moment of courage, and this is the toughest part what Pakistanis are horrible at, where you're supposed to show courage, where you see the pickpocket, you'll say, let it be, it's okay. And you show generosity, you being a coward. This is the sign of great leaders, and I keep saying this on every platform. You had one of the greatest leaders of this part of the world, and I'm so proud of, even to associate remotely as Lail Puri and Lahori, Bhagat Singh, who sang to the gallows to be hung. And there was another man in the recent past who killed in the name of his faith and yet kept appealing for being of mercy. My Muslim ancestry didn't do that. Why did he? There are two principals whose schools were attacked. One of them hid and ran away in a burqa, and the other said, over my dead body. The appropriate of givers and takers are before you. The four names were shown to you earlier on. The four heroes that were shown to you. Mandela, Muhammad Ali. You got two local of Ethi and Chinoy. Now what are these people doing? Let's take Ethi. Do you think he's a victim in the place where he was when he started? Karachi was one of the golden capitals of the world. Look what we've done with Karachi when he died. Do you think he was a victim? Do you think he felt insecure? Do you think he was discontent? Do you think he felt weak? Do you think he was in conflict? Hell no. He was the master of his own destiny. He was a true success story for us. True success story. In spite of everything else, he was secure. He was fulfilled. He was a sense of power, a symbol of power for us. And he was in harmony. These people are masters. The ones who operate on taking are always on the operation of victim mentality. Now this was the answer I found to my first question. The difference between me as an actor and that con artist is my intent. If ever my intent varies, and I'm saying this out loud to you so that you can check me tomorrow, if my intent varies, then I'm acting for money, for fame, for glory, then I'm a taker. I'll be weak. I'll be insecure. I will get into conflict. I definitely will have all those horrible discontent feelings. But if my intent is to entertain you, have you forget your worries, or provoke a thought, or provoke a feeling, or teach you something in the process, I don't know, make you feel good about something in life, then I'm a proper actor. Then I have justified my stance on stage. Friends, you want to be successful.